This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All right, I want to give double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren that's teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the elect, 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, shalom. I'm the brother Dama Agabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. All right, and this is going to be a quick lesson through the spirit. I'm going to play a video for about 4 minutes to just show you that, hey, we're right at the door of the 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. And mainly the sedition among men part. You know, people are not going to regard their kings nor princes. And pretty much, you're about to start seeing a heavy push from, the people, the citizens of America that are fed up, that are tired of being treated like shit, that are tired of not making enough, not making the ends to meet, being done dirty by their governors, by their politicians, seeing these different tech billionaires, the one percenters continuously get rich while the people continue to get poorer and poorer. Times are getting harder. People are struggling. People are, feeling like, all they do is work, but they have no fruits of their labor. People are crashing out. People are just tired of all the bullshit. People want answers, and people are about to start taking it to a lot of these governors and these mayors and these princes and these governors and mayors and senators and even these billionaires, these tech oligarchs. They're about to start feeling the wrath of the people as the people get more stressed, as the people get more burnt out. As we know, this is the agenda of these elites, even Klaus Schwab said, prepare for a more angrier world. We know that these devils are about to bring more manufactured famines. They're about to, bring massive layoffs. They're about to let AI take people's job. They're about to just basically, leave the people in a complete state of perplexity and failure and stress and, calamity and chaos and suffering to where, hey, eventually these people are going to eventually lose it. Like, we got to quote Gerald Salente, when the people have nothing else to lose, they lose it. And we're about to start seeing that on a grand scale, man. You're about to start seeing a lot more of these companies being burnt down, a lot of these warehouses being attacked, whether it's staged or whether it's just people just actually just fed up with the bullshit. It's all prophecy at the end of the day. See, so we're entering into some hellish times here in Babylon the Great, and it's all just the fall of this empire, man. And things are about to get progressively worse, and these prophecies are going to come to pass, whether you people want to believe it or accept it or not. All hell is getting ready to come to this society, and that's why it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, man. And everything that I just read from the 14th verse down to the 18th to the 19th verse is right at the door. So I'm going to play this video here and just listen. Like he said, look, it's happening. Attacks on ruling elites erupt as warehouses burn and billionaires targeted. You see? And why do you think these billionaires, you've been hearing a lot of talk of them building bunkers and them getting ready to go underground? Because these devils know that all hell is about to break loose here in this society, which we know some of it is being orchestrated by these elites. But at the end of the day, you cannot forget that it's all biblical prophecy. It's all the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. And these things are going to continuously happen. And you see this warehouse fire right here. That happened literally 10 minutes from where I live right here in Ontario. All right. I remember the day that happened. My wife called me when she was on her way to work, was like, what's the warehouse fire? You see it? Because like where I live, this warehouse is literally from my house about 25 minutes. But from my job, it was literally like 10 minutes from my job. You see? And, hey, you're going to start seeing more of this shit as the people, lose it, as people have nothing else to lose, they're going to lose it. And remember, it's all going to lead to prophecy. So I'm going to play about 4 minutes of this video, and Lord willing, you can be edified, and leave that. But hey, it's happening, and it's only going to intensify. Oh, and then tomorrow, the 15th, supposedly is the last oil, the last bit of oil that America is going to receive from the Strait of Hormuz. And we know that that thing has been blocked off. So, expect, higher gas prices to shoot through the roof, shortages, delays, rationing. It's just bringing more perplexity and straightness and chaotic times to this society, man. So let's check this out.
Have been noticing this, but there has been a wave of attacks against ruling class elites. And it's been happening. It's been like rapidly increasing by the day. So it's happening, man. Workers are erupting across this country. Warehouses are burning. Billionaires are being targeted. So as J.P. Hill says here, warehouses burnt down, a Molotov cocktail thrown at Sam Altman's house, a politician's home shot at because they supported a data center. A spree of attacks on the ruling class appears to have begun. Every attacker will now be deemed a terrorist by our government and by the entire ruling class. That's inevitable. But what the ruling class desperately doesn't want you to know is that they made this moment inevitable. Their greed has made so many people so destitute and desperate that people across America resorting to lashing out was bound to happen. What the rich and powerful don't want is for you to look at the underlying causes of these acts. And here's an image of one of the warehouses that was set on fire. And so when people looked at Luigi, and some people were shocked by the reaction of people basically being like kind of sympathetic to Luigi, that was a harbinger of things to come. That was a warning. This is not an isolated incident, and this is not an isolated reaction among a group of deranged individuals.
Hey, and this makes me think of James the 5th chapter. Read James the 5th chapter. Woe unto you, rich men. You see, so this thing has all been prophesied within the scriptures. So, we're just literally watching it all, come to pass, and it's only going to get worse, especially as, these shortages come, as the price of gas hikes, as the dollar continuously collapses, and America finds itself isolated from its allies, and the society continues to crumble. These things and the love of many is going to continue to wax colder and colder, man. Hey, and that second Esdras, the 15th chapter, is right at the door.
This is like everybody I know has a horror story when it comes to dealing with health insurance companies in this country. Every single person I know. And so, yeah, the reaction was, well, the guy who Luigi killed is a criminal, and he's got the blood of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of innocent people on his hands, because his, United Healthcare was like objectively one of the worst in terms of their rejection rates for claims. And so everybody's reaction was like, well, it's kind of nuanced, right? Because the guy who was killed is a criminal and was directly involved in basically the deaths of a lot of innocent people. And yeah, Luigi killed the guy, but I mean, it's a dirty business, right? You're involved in a business where you have blood on your hands, so people didn't feel all that horrible for this guy getting killed by Luigi. And that should have been a wake-up call to everybody. And in fact, for a little bit it was. In fact, what happened...
Right, and you think, when shit gets at its worst, that, if people do happen to get their hands on, let's say, Bill Gates or Anthony Fauci, that there's going to be any remorse or any, sympathy for guys like that? With as much blood and death as they got on their hands, that when these guys get touched up, hey, it's like he said, it's just the sentiment is going to be like, well, these guys are criminals. They have done a lot of wicked and vile shit. They are responsible for a lot of wickedness and death and evil. So hey, the punishment fits the crime.
Was in the wake of that, every single health insurance company, immediately started approving all the different claims overnight. There was a long streak of just approve everything. Why? Because they didn't want to end up like the executive who got killed. They didn't want to end up like that. And so, but that was just the beginning, because this country is just squeezing people more and more and more and more. And now we're at the point where you burn down a warehouse and, one of the people said something like, all you had to do was pay us a living wage. And then that was then echoing around online endlessly. There's another example here that I wanted to share with you. Take a look. Sam Altman's home targeted in second attack. Early Sunday morning, a car stopped and appears to have fired a gun at the Russian Hill home of OpenAI's CEO, according to a newly obtained police report. So it's a workers' revolt. It's an anti-Epstein class revolt. And it's also anti-AI too, because what they're doing is they're coming out and they're promising oh yeah, the whole point of this is to replace workers. The far right white nationalist conspiracy is like, the immigrants are coming to replace you. They're coming to steal your jobs. And it's like, no, you idiots. The only thing actually coming to steal your job is AI. And the billionaires are telling you, yes, we're going to make it so your job doesn't exist anymore, and some machine is going to do it. And it's not like we're going to, make sure you can survive in that system. We're just going to throw you to the wolves and say, fuck off and die, right? Let's cut the social safety net. Let's not pay people, from the fruit of the work of the machines that do the work, the fruit of the labor that the machines do. No, they're saying, go fuck yourself and die. And they're open about this. They say these things, and people are like waking up to this and freaking out. Also, when you build the data centers, they're incredibly loud to the point where it drives people fucking crazy. There's all sorts of emissions which get people sick. The Grok data center in I believe it's Memphis has left like a bunch of people very sick as a from a result of the emissions that are coming out of the data center. So like there's all these health issues, there's all these environmental issues, and then there's also the energy problem, which is like, we have a limited amount of energy and we're going to use it building this shit. You're going to have like rolling blackouts at people's homes, but you're going to have the fucking data center soaking up all the energy. It makes you blow through fresh water as well because they need fresh water to cool off the data centers. So look, it's all coming to a head now. It's all coming to a head. And guess what? So this story came out about Sam Altman. Ready for this? I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw the comment section on Instagram. I hope that Molotov is okay. Where can we support their bail fund? Please, nobody throw another Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house, which is pictured here. That would be easy to find now, since you know which neighborhood it's in. I love how collectively fed up the working class is. Actually, that man and me were having dinner. He was never there.
And you see, this is why these elites are, they all have bunkers prepared, because they know eventually people are going to, they're going to lose it, man. And they're going to start pointing the blame exactly where the blame needs to be pointed. So this is why these elites have these underground bunkers and these safe havens and these places where they're going to scurry and hide, hoping that, they're going to hide in these bunkers until all hell breaks loose. But we know ultimately scripture says we're going to grab up these elites out of these bunkers and they're going straight into captivity. But it just shows you the times that we're in. All right. Hey, though it tarry, wait, it shall speak. It shall, it shall not tarry anymore.
But again, I missed. New love language just dropped. Sir, your home is on an active landslide. The people are tired. In other news, I had a bagel for breakfast. Doing God's work. More. A hero was born. No, he was with me all night at the bar. Let him go. Damn, it didn't work? Damn, free him. So that's where he lives. Is the Molotov cocktail okay? This should be a nightly occurrence. One ain't gonna cut it. Arrested for allegedly throwing a Molotov at a dude's house. We have yet to know if the person they arrested did the crime or just took the fall so the common man won't realize you can just throw Molotov at billionaires' mansions. So, again, is it just like with Luigi, right? Go look at the reaction on social media. And it's not just a left-wing thing. It is across the board. You got people reacting in this kind of way because they have been squeezed to the high heavens and they feel like there's no hope, there's no way out. We're not going to be able to vote our way out of this. People are now getting violent because they feel like they've exhausted all other options. And I agree with Joshua Hill that this was inevitable. It was inevitable. When you actively cut off people's lifelines and their chance to live in a country with universal health care or free college or a living wage, right? Universal child care. When you make sure that they can't have the basics, what you're doing is you're saying your life is worthless, your life is meaningless. And we live in a country where instead of taking care of the basics, they destroy the social safety nets and they give the wealthy massive tax cuts and massive subsidies. And so at some point, we were going to hit a breaking point. When we have like Gilded Age level income and wealth inequality and people are struggling this severely, now we have another bout of inflation and oil and gas skyrocketing. This was going to happen. It was going to happen. And don't say that we didn't warn you. We warned you every single step of the way. So there is a way to address it. And it requires massive, colossal wealth redistribution.
But that's not going to happen. This is not going to happen because it's the devil that we're dealing with. All right, Salakia. This is the devil that we're dealing with. Hey, we know how this ends, and it ends, in the way that Scripture says it. And ultimately, in the fall of this empire, and all hell breaking loose in this world, man. So you Jake out there, you better repent, right? While you still have time. Get yourself right with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because, hey, this shit is only going to intensify and reach the boiling point and fulfill prophecy. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. God praise, honor, glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And to the next one, Shalom.